This is Scott Spears, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of The Exchange, and we're going to have a great episode. We've got Matt Morgan, 40th President of the United States, Mary Ellen Withrow, and comedy writer, stand-up comedian Mike Larsen with us again, and it is the perfect time to have him with us with what's going on with comedy in the world. But before we get to that, we've got to talk about something that was a major, I don't want to call it an argument, but it was one of the more major moments on this show a few weeks ago when I said, apparently mistakenly, that people do not have library cards.
Oh, I knew that's where I was going.
Mary Ellen, that was the most shocked she's ever been in all these shows. That people, because you still go to the library.
Yes, I do.
And get books.
I thought, what is wrong with Scott?
I know, I was completely uninformed. And I even realized that I still have a library card.
Well, sure you do.
I do. Now, Matt, do you have a library card? No, Matt does not.
No, I don't.
Mike, do you still have a library card?
I don't know that I have a physical card, but I am a member of the library, so I can go and check in. I think it's on my phone or something, but yeah.
Well, I just know in all the schools, what started that was all the schools have pretty well changed the name of their libraries to digital centers, media centers.
Okay.
So that's where that went. Well, what I want to say is that not too long after that, it's probably one of those things where the internet's picking up everything you say, I got a mailer from the library.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff going on at the library here in town.
Yeah.
This is just June 2nd through July 31st, marionlibrary.org/SR. But there are so many events going on, I can't even read them all. They've got 2 authors coming. One will be there on August the 14th. That will be the next one. But all kinds of stuff. You can still join the library, Mary Ellen. It's a very popular place. So I just wanted to bring that up, that the paperwork did come from the library.
Well, and they took over the classes that they used to have at OSU. You know, they used to have classes at OSU for painting and
like
different
adult learning kind of things.
Little different things that people would want to do. Now they're doing it at the library.
Oh, they do it at the library now?
They have been for several years. I'd say, probably at least 8 years. And I've gone to a lot of those, and they're really good. I mean, you go to some good things.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, I have not been to the local library in a while. Do they still have a lot of books? I'm not asking. No, I'm saying I know they have a lot of computers, and I know they have a lot of newspapers, and I know they have a lot of other stuff now at the library.
They've got my book.
They've got your book. Oh, there you go. No, well, I'm worried about libraries because I think they might be like mailboxes and payphones, and I don't want them to go away because I think we'll lose a lot.
We've got a mailbox.
We do have a mailbox?
Yeah.
No, I mean like the old physical mailboxes?
Yeah.
Really?
At Primrose.
Oh, I didn't.
Where do you live, Scott?
People come in looking, where is the mailbox?
Do you drive down the road? Do you see those mailboxes?
I see people's personal mailboxes, but I don't see like a mailbox that people used to put mail in.
They're not on every corner like they used to be.
Right.
They're still out in like the downtown area.
They've got it. They've got one at the post office.
Well, that's a good place for it.
Well, it is.
Yeah. But no, I have not. There used to be, on Route 95 here in town, where all the business seems to be, there used to be a ton of mailboxes on that road. Yeah. And now I don't know where any are.
And people would pull up and you'd have to wait behind them while they mailed their letters.
That's right. And you could pull on one side from your car or get it on the slot from the other side.
And there are fewer physical books in libraries that now, just because there are so many other ways to get information now, like computers and videos and all that. There's a lot more resources now at libraries, and they became really important during the pandemic when people, when the schools were closed. I know where I live, that area, the Columbus Library has kind of encompassed all the surrounding towns. So you have one membership and you can go to any of them. And you can get Wi-Fi in the parking lot, so people could just park in the parking lot and their kids could do their homework and that sort of thing.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's what I thought that libraries had evolved to, was mostly into places where people could go get on the internet and they could do research that way. And I noticed that libraries seem to be the hub for ancestry research. I have noticed that. But I haven't heard for a long time that libraries were a very big thing. I mean, people would get movies there, they'd get books there.
Well, they still do.
I gotta go. I'm gonna have to go more often
they
because
still do.
They don't live in your ivory tower, Scott.
I guess not.
You
I'm
know.
way up there. I don't come down to that library very often.
Yeah.
No, but you know what I used to go there for? Honestly, microfilm. Remember microfilm?
Oh,
yes.
Be-
Yeah.
Before the internet, if you
Yeah.
wanted to check an old newspaper,
The
you
giant machine.
yes,
Yeah.
and then you had to, it was trying to figure out what page it was on, and
Yeah.
then
And
that
it was a negative, so you had to read the
Yeah,
like
it was
white on
backwards.
black. It was very hard to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and if you printed it, it was all that black ink because it was backwards.
Right.
Yeah. So but I don't see that machine in the library. I was looking for it last time when I was there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably that I
They
probably been
probably have.
digitized.
Yeah, I was gonna say they
Yeah.
probably have an archive at this point that you
Right.
can go to.
Right. So I don't know. I'm glad that but they do have a lot of stuff going on at the library.
Well,
Yeah. So there'll be a lot of good stuff.
Well, do you remember? I don't often talk about good things of the George W. Bush administration, but that is one of the things they did was this massive public digitizing of libraries and things where they were able to transfer those old records to something more searchable and
I don't remember.
permanent. So
See, I like a good book though. Recently, there was a book put out by I forget what the pub. I want to say Simon and Schuster. I hope I'm right, but it was on Desi Arnaz, and it's the best book I've ever seen on Desi Arnaz, written by an author. The author came on the show. They sent me a copy of the physical book, and I still like the physical book. I like seeing the jacket, and I like the whole. So I'm pro library.
Well,
I just didn't know it was as big a deal as it once was.
I mean, I like the physical books. I tend to like. I don't just read. So like, if there's books I want, it's just because I want them, so I just buy them, and then at that point, I have them at my house.
what's a good book you've read recently?
Good book I read recently. I think the last book I read, or I guess I probably listened to this one because I listen to a lot of books when I'm at work.
Yeah.
Was either Animal Farm or it was either The Idiot or Crime and no, it wouldn't have been Crime and Punishment.
Oh, okay.
It
Well,
was
that's
one of the
great.
Dostoevsky books.
I listen more. I mean, in my job, I read and I write all day long, so it's not terribly attractive to me to then go home and read more, but I do like on the drive up here, having something on, that I can listen to. So I consume a lot more books now than I did a few years ago because I can just kind of absorb it as I go around.
Also, audiobooks, a lot of them are in like the public domain now. So like, I mean, you can get on YouTube and find it. Like they're just everywhere for free.
You can get them at the library. The Audible audio.
But do you like when the book is read by somebody other than the author? Like I find that there are certain books when it's read in somebody else's voice, I think it changes it a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, it's all how the reader vocalizes everything. I mean, that's why most people like to read the books themselves. I just don't have the attention span to sit there and read the book. So instead, I will read along as I listen to it because it keeps me focused on the book.
I can't stay focused when I do that. I have to read.
Me too.
Yeah.
See, I'm just the opposite. I have to read the book, then listen to it because I stopped paying attention.
I have been sucked into this long series of books by this Irish author, mostly because of the person who reads it. The stories are filled with all these different Irish accents, and he does all of them. And I'm kind of amazed. The books are good. The writer is a guy named Quee MacDonald, who is a good writer. But I think it's because of that voice performer is so good. I can't wait to get the next one.
Well, an accent always draws your attention.
I mean,
I'm on a list for Bill Clinton's book with Patterson.
Right.
His Second Husband or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get that one.
Yeah.
Now, how long are the lists at the library now?
Well, I was number 7.
Wow.
And there's some long lists for a book like that. I'm on the large print, so the regular print probably has 25 people on it,
You know, it's interesting to me, and before we get on to our first big story this week, there's so much. I watched one of these podcasts, I think it was Megyn Kelly's podcast the other day, because there was a new documentary just recently put out about Barbara Walters on Hulu, I think. Mm-hmm. And apparently, I don't know that they do a number on Barbara Walters, but they get very in on her about how she didn't have a good relationship with her daughter, and how she probably didn't have a good relationship with her parents, and that her work was her love, and this sort of thing. And Megyn Kelly, boy, I'll tell you, she pretty well rips Barbara Walters apart in her podcast.
Really?
Oh, yeah. About how all she had was her career, and should we really revere this woman so much? She was kind of ruthless in her...
That's terrible.
I thought so too.
Megyn Kelly would not exist were it not for Barbara Walters.
Exactly.
And then it just shows the ignorance, and people can't appreciate the people who came before them.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? They doctored it up though too, which was annoying to me, because Barbara Walters, in her time, they showed her interviewing people like Bette Midler and Elizabeth Taylor, and she would ask them, do you think you're good looking on a scale of 1 to 10? How good? And boy, Megyn Kelly was just, that's so inappropriate. You couldn't get away with asking that today. Couldn't you? I think you could.
I think you could. Yeah.
I don't know why you couldn't.
haven't heard it lately, but...
Yeah, but that was a Barbara Walters thing.
Changed, so what, right? I mean, she was of her moment. She was not performing in 2025. She was in 1975. Mm-hmm. And Barbara Walters, was an icon, right? She became a Gilda Radner character on Saturday Night Live. She was so well known. She was, Well,
the point I was driving at with that whole thing was there was a book a few years ago, and I can't remember what it was. It was one of those authors I had on where they sent you the book, and I think I did have the author on. But it was a fascinating book about Barbara Walters. It was not one that she wrote, but it was about her. And I remember thinking, gosh, this is interesting. But you never know when somebody else writes it about somebody if it's really true or not. You don't know. But they're still fun to read. There's enough fact in there that you think, that's probably true.
I would say that I think an autobiography is sometimes less believable than a biography. I don't know that I would be completely honest about every detail of my life, where someone else, not that I've lived such a wild...
You have a torrid life.
Yeah, I know.
You have a life that you can really leave out there?
What would I leave out?
A lot of secrets in there.
I wish I had things I could leave out of my life.
Well, do you ever think about that, Mary Ellen? Because you wrote a book about yourself.
Well, I didn't write it. My friend wrote it.
But it's in the library.
Yeah, it's in the Library of Congress, too.
Okay.
But 100 years from now, what if somebody wrote a book about you, about things that you did not mention in your book?
I'll be honest with you. When we've talked about writing a book about me, I could just visualize somebody suing me over something I said in my book.
So you do think about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there are things that
because they're always saying they're going to sue somebody when they write a book. That's the first thing out of their mouth. They want to sue somebody. And so I was very, very careful.
Right.
There's nothing in my book that anybody can sue me for.
Well, but how would you feel about somebody writing a book about you?
I would not like that.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people want to do it.
I bet.
I have. And this person that did it, I trusted her. I'm not so sure about some of the other people.
But to the degree of your place in history, the part of that goes with the territory, right? At some point, people do retrospects on women in politics, and people like you were the groundbreakers. There weren't many, right?
Right.
So that story is pretty important, and including the sacrifices you make in order to be in public life, home life or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's all really helpful for people, right?
Yeah.
Well, but I think about like Harding, because we're here in Marion. Now, he's not a big topic nationally usually, but a lot of books have been written locally about him by other people who put stuff in there that may be true, but I'm sure he would not have written himself. And you were national as well, so I think there probably will be a day when somebody will write a book about you.
No, they won't.
They don't?
No,
You didn't have
I
any
don't
good
know.
scandals. Harding had some good scandals to write
no,
about.
I didn't have any scandals.
You don't think that book was written about Harding and the Marion Star? Now that's a boring book, but it's there. They wrote it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You never know what people will write
I
about.
know. When I had the license bureau, the woman that had it before me gave me this book about, and I read it. It was Harding's book, and I was fascinated with it. And I think most of the things in that book were true.
But were there things that you left out or did not
Oh
have?
you've got to leave things out.
Right.
Some of that stuff's nobody's business. You know.
Right. Well, I think
what
Barbara
about
would have felt that.
Voinovich? You didn't pull any punches with him, did you?
Did you drop Voinovich in there?
I didn't say a word about Voinovich.
Oh, really?
No.
No, I don't think there's a word about him in that book.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
That's,
I didn't give him any time.
didn't give him a
Right.
chapter.
No.
Yeah.
No. But I do think about that because I think, well, like Barbara, I'm sure she probably didn't think that anybody would write a book about her. And now there's this book that really kind of, I think she thought she would tell it all because she wrote a pretty extensive book. She told about affairs she had. She told about a lot of things.
Yeah, she had affairs.
She did.
Yeah.
But now that's not the story because she did tell that stuff when she was alive. But now it's more about she didn't have any relationship with her child. Her parents were probably not the best relationship. So they still find places to go, and maybe it is
But
true.
isn't that more interesting to people now? People seem to be interested sometimes in a, kind of gossipy way, but also sometimes I think in a real way to talk in reality about what families are like, that not all families are, leave it to Beaver. That there's difficulties and sometimes people don't get along. And I think probably some of the most accomplished people probably had some of the worst childhoods, So, I don't know, I think that's interesting, not just from a gossipy point of, but like...
I had a wonderful childhood.
So did I. I was very deprived as a comedian because I didn't have much drama in my life as a child. I wish I had more to joke about.
I didn't have much drama either.
Yeah.
But, and everything was very quiet. I was on a farm, and I'm bouncing a ball against a building half the day.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was my entertainment, riding my bicycle and catching butterflies.
Uh-huh.
Well, I just find I find it very interesting that in the society now, I find a lot of young people who weren't even alive in the time of these people are now finding them interesting, but they're only finding them through the lens that somebody else is painting for them. And I don't know if that's good, because if Barbara Walt, okay, let's say it was true. Her and her parents didn't get along. Her and her daughter didn't get along. If she didn't write it, I mean, should we dump that on her? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right thing to do.
I don't think it is, yeah.
It's interesting that you find that dumping. I think I look back on my life and stupid, bad things I did, whatever, mistakes I made. Now, I think someone telling that story, if they say, yeah, but look, Mike's turned into a good man, that's all part of the story. I don't know that, and to the degree that we are remembered after we're gone, that's exciting. I would like someone
amazing.
20 years after I died to say, hey, remember that guy, Mike Larsen? He was a good guy. You know?
Well, I think the problem is her daughter's still alive.
Oh,
And
what does she say about it?
Nothing. And I think that's probably why
So then it's true.
Could be.
I mean, if she's not saying anything.
Well, I don't... what's interesting to me is just that the daughter now... Clearly the daughter didn't say when she was alive that they had a bad relationship. But now that she's dead, somebody else has written that they had a bad relationship. Well, the daughter has to live with that now. Whether it's true or it's false, that's the age we live in. And I don't know. I just think there's something about that. Maybe how do I know what relationship they had?
Yeah.
I don't.
I have no idea.
Right, so...
And I would judge her more on her
Performance.
her job. She was very good at it. I didn't
Yep.
wasn't always a huge Barbara Walters fan. I wouldn't go out of my way, oh, Barbara Walters is on TV. She was pretty much on TV every night, it seems, for a while there. But she was always very good at what she did.
Yeah.
Right, but I thought a lot about this week of Bill Cosby. You know, he's still with us, but clearly, now here's a guy who everybody loved. You could not have been more popular in the world in the 80s and 90s than Bill Cosby. Yeah. And his TV son drowns, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and dies in his 50s.
Horrible. Yeah.
Horrible. But everybody, first name that pops in your head is Bill Cosby, and all the clips they've shown are from The Cosby Show. And did you notice how none of the clips are with Bill Cosby, even though it was the father-son relationship?
Yeah.
So they've edited Bill Cosby out of that.
Yeah.
But I did notice that he did release a statement, and that was read on some shows in which Bill Cosby said, it's like losing my own son, and we did have a good relationship.
Yeah.
But now here's Bill Cosby. How's history going to look at him? Is it going to be the great comedian? Or is it going to be more of the imprisoned, accused rapist?
Monster. And a great comedian. Can't you? Both, right? I mean, I grew up on Bill Cosby records, and I loved Bill Cosby records. But that doesn't take away the fact that while he was making those records, and I was enjoying them as a 12-year-old boy, he was also being a monster to people, doing horrible things to people. So, you know.
But why can't they put him in the clip? Why do they have to edit him out of the clips of his own show and do while he's still alive? I mean, what's that going to do for him?
I don't know. I would imagine part of it is you don't want, kind of like why you didn't write a chapter about Voinovich, that you don't want to give any sunlight to somebody.
Huh?
But you've talked about Voinovich.
On your program.
I know. I know. This is where it all
It's
comes.
just a good comedy name. I just like saying Voinovich.
No, but I do think that poor Cosby is...
He was a disgusting character, I want to tell you.
Yeah.
People have no idea how disgusting he was to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Voinovich.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. I couldn't get over it. I mean, he was just plain jealous.
Now, would you ever write that?
Sure, I'd write it.
Oh, so you would write that?
I didn't even think about it in my book.
But it is your truth. We all own our own truth, right?
Yeah,
If Mary Ellen does something nasty to me, I own that story. I can tell it.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people do things to me that I've told, you know, certainly just here, just telling whatever stories about, you know, working on shows with people or whatever. If it happened,
Yeah.
and I was in the room, I own that story as much as anyone does.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, I don't go out of my way to run someone down unless they did something horrible to me.
Yeah.
But
No, but the society we live in is interesting. For all the good things you wrote in your book, Mary Ellen, and all the praise you gave to people, if you had written Voinovich is disgusting, that would have been the headline. And if anybody would have tried to push the book, you know, that would have been it, because that's something people don't know. And I mean, you and I had a very interesting experience last year with that, with another governor in Ohio, Governor Celeste. And I mean, this is not off the record, but he writes a book and sends it out early. He's coming to Marion to do a book signing, going to do an interview with me. We do it in your live in Mary Ellen's museum here. And I read the book, and he talks about being a sex addict in the book. And this is Governor's...
So that's really, interesting.
Yes,
Wow.
and I'm thinking, holy...
And he didn't mention my name.
That's right, he did not.
Not through the whole book.
And it's a big
I
book.
was his treasure
Oh, wow.
for 8 years.
Well, and we get to the interview, and I've got to ask him, because that's what they've sold this book on, is him being a sex addict. And this is one of the funny... I should have told this when I gave the speech a few weeks ago. We're sitting down in the museum, and the setup was Mary Ellen was going to be on for an hour. Then we would have Governor Celeste on, where I would ask him about his book. Then we would have Mary Ellen and Governor Celeste on at the end, reunited, and that would be how we would do it. So Mary Ellen comes in and does the first hour, and then here comes Governor Celeste, and during the break, he won't let Mary Ellen leave. He's like, stay here. And I'm thinking, oh, we're going to ask some personal questions. I don't know. And I'm telling you, when I asked him about being a sex addict and Mary Ellen was sitting right there, he didn't want to talk about it all of a
No,
sudden. He didn't.
right.
He was very kind.
Yeah.
No, Matt, you were there.
Oh,
How would you
man.
describe that moment?
You should have.
Awkward.
You had to have been in the room. Like it was fine. Like the vibe was okay. You know, there was a
Right.
just, you know, regular interview, and then all of a sudden, like I mean, I knew the question was coming, and then like as soon as he starts asking it, it's like the whole vibe in the room changed. Because I'm certain that Governor Celeste knew what was coming.
And I could
thing
picture
helped
Scott
change.
asking that question because you are such the super positive kind of choir boy. I could imagine your own discomfort of, how do I say this?
He did it very well.
Yeah, forgive me. I know what it's like to be a sex addict.
Right,
One of those.
right.
Sitting there with the governor. But, it was one of those things where he got very uncomfortable, and I thought, well, you wrote about it. I mean,
Exactly.
we read it.
You had to figure
It
somebody
was
was going to
all
ask.
in the book.
Especially if that's what you're using to sell your book. I mean, of
Yeah.
course we're going to ask about it. Yeah.
But he did say something to the effect of, I don't know if I want to talk about this very much. He only talked about it for a minute. I mean, he definitely wanted to get that subject
Well,
moving
it
along.
was a severe problem with him.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And that's why I was surprised. I wonder if they made him put that in to sell the book.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I wouldn't want to put it in if I wrote the book.
No,
If it
no.
was me.
No, I would
I'd
think
keep it out.
maybe they felt that was the selling point. I don't know. A lot of these book people, they got to have that thing that's going to move the
Yeah,
book.
you want to hook to sell the book, but also to the degree that it affected the way he made decisions or made in his life, that part of it would be interesting. You know, if he was...
I was amazed at how much education he had. I didn't know he'd gone to Oxford.
Oh, wow.
And, I didn't know it. While I was working for him, I didn't know it. But he did try to, he was trying to take over our investing. And we, of course, wouldn't let him do it. He wanted to have control of that. And my guy that was doing the investing kept good control of it. But it's interesting how people want to take over things that they shouldn't,
I wonder if people want to get stuff off their chest. Because he didn't have to tell that. So I wonder if he wanted to do that before the end of his life. And did Barbara Walters want to write about her affairs? I can't imagine, but she did.
Well, maybe she was proud of it. You don't know.
I don't know. It's a very interesting thing.
Or just that it is what you are. It is who you are, and that's how we have the life we have, right? There's when people say, oh, would you go back and change something from your life? It's like, well, I don't know. How would that spin my life in a different way? Maybe I would have gone, so, I talk now about not drinking anymore, but I drank a lot for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And to the point where that was the one thing I did every day, And so now that I don't, and I'm like, hey, I made it out of that was, that's to the degree that it defines me, but also to the degree that somebody else listens to it and says, oh,
yeah,
well, that guy's not so special, and he was able to do it, so.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that I worried about the most when we were doing the book was that I would get everything correct.
Right.
Your memory.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that book for many years after I was out of office.
Right.
And your memory changes things in your mind sometimes, and you don't get things correct. And I'm always afraid I'm going to do that, especially at my age. So, yeah.
There's always a family member, though. I will say that. That's no matter who you are. I mean, there are still Harding grandchildren. If you say something negative about that person, if you write about them, even an article, doesn't even have to be a whole book. If you get something wrong or say something that the family doesn't like, you'll hear from them. It doesn't take much, even if it's true. If they did not want that out there, they don't like it. So there you go.
There are people who don't want us saying that slavery existed because their grandpappy owned slaves. It's tough. That's history. We're going to talk about it. And I'm sorry that your your ancestors were shameful people, but you got to own up to it.
Well, with a minute left to go in this segment, now is there ever a statute of limitations on these privacies? Like if somebody tells me something in confidence, and then God forbid they go on to their reward. How long do I have to keep that a secret before I can say it?
Have you got a whole bunch of things you want to tell?
I might have a few things that I'd like to bring out.
Scott?
I got to let it all out at some point. Because I always wonder, how long do you have to wait?
I don't know. Shouldn't we have consequences for our actions if I do something nasty to you?
Yeah, but if you know it's off the record, if you know they're telling it to you as a secret, how long do you have to keep that consequence?
I don't know.
That would be
that
would be hard for you, because I bet you're told a lot of things you can't tell.
I am, and sometimes it's part of a story.
Yeah.
Which is annoying because they say, "But don't write about this."
Yeah.
I'll think about some things, and we'll go to break here. And
I've never done that to you, have I?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think I have.
I think we've gotten it most out on the air here.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, everything's been on the air.
We'll come back after this. Stay tuned. Hey, Scott Spears here with Colleen Marshall, NBC4. Catch her every night. And in the new documentary, Surviving Ohio State. We just had a great conversation. You can catch it on WWGH1071.com or download the TuneIn app on any mobile device by searching WGH Talk. It's absolutely free. Colleen, so great to talk with you. In 30 seconds, what do you think of the documentary?
I think that the documentary maker, Eva Orner, did a remarkable, masterful job of taking a very difficult subject, of finding and getting honest answers from people who have been through hell and back. And it's not an uplifting story, but I think it's a significant story, and we should all pay attention to it.
NBC4's Colleen Marshall, the absolute best. Hey, Scott Spears back here with Matt Morgan, 40th President of the United States, Mary Ellen Withrow, stand-up comic, comedy writer Mike Larsen, and during the break we told all secrets to each other. Secrets have all been spread. You'll never know. Yeah. You'll never know what the secrets were. Right. Before we get into our next subject here, or maybe our first big subject of the show this week, Mike, tell us, because people do ask, where are you playing? Some dates you've got coming up?
Well, there's a big show August 21st at # Comedy Club in Columbus, and it feature. I will be on the bill, but also Jeff Jenna, who now is based in Dayton, but is one of the masters of comedy. He's a few years older than me, just an amazing comic. And then on the other end of the spectrum, Layla Ingalls, who's like probably 24, 25-year-old woman, brilliant comic. She's really going to be something. She's an amazing young comic. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's August 21st at # Comedy Club, and information is on their website, which is just #comedy.com.
We were all talking before you came in. We all want to come see you.
Yeah.
So we're going to make this a point and come see a show. That'd be fun. Well, what are your shows like these days? What do you talk about?
Oh, I am at a point in my life where I really perform for the pure joy of performing. Most of my career as a comedian, you're constantly trying to get to the next thing. You're impressing someone in the audience, you're trying to get a bigger show or on television or whatever. So it's really been just really nice the last 5 years or so since I've gotten back into it. I took some time off of doing it for the pure joy of comedy. So I talk a little bit about politics. If I do, say, a half hour, maybe there's 8 or 10 minutes of current events in politics. Most of it, though, is about myself, about growing up in a big family, about having a kid in college, about being married, kind of very relatable stuff. Quite a bit about Ohio, about being from California, so my take on Ohio. I live in Plain City, so I've gone from, growing up in San Francisco and living in New York and Washington and Los Angeles to living in
Plain City.
Plain City, which I like to say is the most honestly named city in Ohio.
There you go.
So, a little bit just about, and that's all very relatable to people,
Now, when you do political humor in Ohio, which is a very red state at this particular point, does it always go over well?
Yeah, well, I'm very good at what I do. It does. Even now, there may be, for me, the greatest compliment is when someone comes and says, I disagree with your politics, but you're funny.
Yeah.
You know, because that's kind of what, I don't hold back on my point of view, but I try not to lecture people. I try make jokes about, you know, from my point of view, but also that while Ohio is a fairly conservative state, comedy club audiences are still a fairly reliable blue pocket in Ohio, no matter where you are. But yeah, I love performing for different. I really don't care what people's politics are when I go on stage. My job is to make them laugh, and if I'm doing something that upsets them so much that they can't laugh, that's just bad on me. That's my, you know. So,
well,
yeah.
I think one guy, this is a good segue, who thought he was under the radar in the comedy world, that guy, Stephen Colbert, and we'll just get right into the story here. It's fascinating. It's fascinating where we are. CBS is axing The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in May 2026. The host told an audience at a taping last Thursday. The announcement came 3 days after Colbert spoke out against Paramount Global, parent company of CBS, settling with President Donald Trump over a 60-minute story. Colbert told the audience that he had learned the night before that next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May. The audience responded with boos and groans, and Colbert said, "Yeah, I share your feelings." In his monologue on Monday night, he said he was offended by the $16 million settlement reached by Paramount, whose pending sale to Skydance Media needs the Trump administration's approval. "I don't know if anything will repair my trust in this company," Colbert said, "but just taking a stab at it, I'd say $16 million would help." He said a technical name in legal circles for the deal was a big fat bribe. Paramount and CBS executives said in a statement the cancellation is purely a financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. It is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount. We should mention that the most recent ratings from Nielsen for the Colbert Show has it winning its time slot with about 2.417 million viewers across 41 new episodes of this season. It is also said that his late night show was the only one to gain in viewers so far this year. And last week, The Late Show was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Talk Show for the 6th time, and it also won a Peabody Award in 2021. So there we go. Colbert is out, and since this story was printed, he came out on Monday, and a show of support by all the other late night hosts, Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers and Jon Stewart, and the whole group was there on Monday night in the audience for Colbert. And Colbert, of course, said some provocative things about Trump in his monologue, and basically said the gloves are off for the next 10 months, I guess it is. So, here we go. What do you think, Mike? You're the comedy man. Did they cancel Colbert because of economics or because of what he said?
Of course it was because of politics. The same reason CBS canceled the Smothers Brothers 50 years ago. The exact same thing. Of course it is, and of course it's because of Trump. And it's horrible. It's you know, Trump is so insecure that he has to silence all of his critics, and he has to, you know, threaten to arrest Obama, and he's just such a petulant little child. Every president has had a problem with late night television. I mean, Bill Clinton was crucified on late night television. He never tried to end it. It just shows what a weak little snowflake of a man Donald Trump is, that he has to silence all of his critics. Stephen Colbert is one of the funniest people on the planet. He comes out great in this. I mean, Stephen Colbert, for one thing, it was the top show.
Yeah.
He can go anywhere he wants. He can do whatever he wants. And I cannot see CBS really giving him this 10-month ramp to say whatever he wants. And Colbert's not holding back. So he gets paid whether he does the shows or not. He has a contract. It'll be interesting to see what happens over these next 10 months, because he has no there is no reason for him to hold back.
You know, I thought about that, but because these executives are not incredibly stupid, they did that for a reason. So I believe the reason is they know he's going to unload on them for 10 months and unload on Trump, and they know that's going to make the ratings go sky high, and they know they're going to collect the money.
Of course.
Yeah, and then they're going to get rid of him in the end anyway. Because you know what? Stephen Colbert will come out fine, maybe. I mean, I don't think he's going to go away, but you know, sometimes, especially in late night, you think that somebody's going to live forever and the ramp up to their final show is the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then it's, I mean, you know, then it's gone because they don't.
I thought he's been funnier since this happened because he was kind of in a slump there a little bit. And, I think he's been really funny the last few nights.
Do you think there's any chance that this is economic? Because we do have to say that Jimmy Kimmel, the Tonight Show, which is the longest running show in late night history, Matt's favorite host, Steve Allen, started that 70 years ago. Yeah, here's you and Steve Allen. You know, they've been cut down to 4 nights a week. They aren't doing 5 shows anymore a week. And you know, these shows, they do show the numbers, and you can't pay somebody $20 million now in, what do they call it, legacy media, and make the money that you once did. I'm sure David Letterman's show made a ton more money for the network than Stephen Colbert did, and it's just because of the platforms that are out there now.
My understanding is that late night has always never been an earnings thing. Late night is there for a lot of reasons. One is to prop up the local 11 o'clock news. People tend to watch the news of whichever late night show they're going to watch, and then also to promote movies and all of that sort of thing. Also, from someone who's been a long time in Hollywood, from the network's point of view, no show makes money. Okay, the way their accounting never shows a profit. I was on hit shows that they said we were in deficit because when they make a profit, they got to pay us more, right? So they were constantly pleading poverty.
Oh, really?
You know, but if it was a money thing, there was no talks of going to Colbert and saying, "Hey, how can we renegotiate the contract? Can we move you out of that very, very expensive studio in downtown Manhattan and move you someplace cheaper?" You know, there was never a discussion of that. So it's clearly, you know, and Trump is bragging that, you know, Jimmy Kimmel's next, and, you know, he's so.
Is he saying that?
Yeah, Trump is, you know,
he?
And I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You know what's strange about this, Matt, in a way to me? Because I've thought about this. Now, the network, again, I don't think they're this stupid to leave him on for 10 months, but I think it will be better ratings and it'll be more ad revenues. But just the timing. I mean, he makes this comment on Monday. I mean, did CBS call this big executive meeting on Tuesday and decide we're going to fire him on Wednesday? I don't know. I just don't know if it would happen like that, and I think they know that would look bad. I think people in the administration would know that would look bad and clearly look like you were throwing, and you're going to leave him on for 10 months anyway. Why not wait a month to make that announcement, not 2 nights after you make those comments? And also, I thought it was very strange. Stephen Colbert's not a dumb guy, and his staff's not dumb guys. He's got liaisons with the network. He's got network people there in the studio. I'm sure he heard rumblings about finances and money, and wouldn't you think, Matt? Jimmy Kimmel was cut down to 4 nights before this happened. I mean, he had to see some writing on the wall.
I'm sure I don't know how the whole TV industry works. I'll be honest. So I don't know if they would share that kind of information with the host or not. But I mean, he is the number one in the spot. So there is that.
I am sure his management knew, but he knows too. You know, they knew. He's been joking about Skydance and about you know, which is owned by the Oracle guy, right? Ellison, who's a, you know, kind of a right-wing provocateur of his own. So, you know, he's been joking about that, and I'm sure there was a part of it of them playing a little bit of chicken, like I dare you to fire me kind of thing. And for Colbert, like I say, he comes out smelling like a rose. He could, if he wanted to go to HBO or do whatever he wants.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's going to have no problems getting another job anywhere that he wants to go.
Oh, maybe he'll go and run for Senate in South Carolina. He's from South Carolina. Maybe he can go run against Lindsey Graham. Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Oh my gosh,
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
That'd be entertainment.
Great campaign. Well, I'd love that one.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's one of the interesting things about Colbert is he was very political from the beginning, and he did give his opinion, which other late night hosts for years and years and years have said, we're not going to do that. I don't think Jimmy Fallon still does that. He's still very straight down the center, doesn't like to do a lot of political jokes.
Right.
Carson always said he did not do political jokes for one. He hit them both. And Letterman was the same way. And I think that clearly Colbert had a bend politically. And even though that does make you popular, especially in the climate we're in, that also makes you more of a target.
Sure. Kimmel also is very political.
Yeah, yeah.
But Colbert had, his earlier show where he played the part of a conservative. And what's amazing now is I hear a lot of Republicans saying, I liked him when he had his Daily Show. And it's like, you didn't even get that was a joke? That he played this buffoonish right-wing character. But yeah, that's who Colbert is. Jay Leno really went after Bill Clinton. And he got a lot of flack for, Johnny Carson was kind of above the fray. And Jay Leno really dug into him being overweight and going to McDonald's, and I remember there was a lot of jokes about that. And then of course once all of the women's stories came in, I think we want those hosts to be genuine, right? We want them, we invite them into our homes every night. We want to believe we're getting the real version of them, and CBS certainly knew who they were hiring. So
well, maybe Skydance doesn't want him.
Oh, I think clearly Skydance doesn't want him. Yes.
And that's maybe part of the deal here. Get rid of him. Maybe Paramount, if Paramount wanted the company still and was making the money they were making years ago, maybe he would have stayed.
Yeah. All these tech people buying up the entertainment world is also just very troubling. That in my industry, even when we would go on strikes and we would have issues with the studios and the networks and the networks were still show people. They were people who grew up with the movie theaters. They had this love for entertainment. Now, the networks and the studios are more likely to be owned by tech. Really? And they are not show people. They weren't the drama dorks like me in high school. They were these tech people who were more into it for money and for dividing up corporations. So I think that's part of this here, is that you don't have people who have this love for the tradition of late night and all of that. I think someone like Ellison doesn't care about that stuff.
Well, I remember George Bush and the Chicks.
Oh yeah.
The Chicks.
Oh right, the Dixie Chicks. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. They.
Yeah.
So I mean, this has happened before, and he'll get his 10 months to do what he wants to do, and then we'll see what happens after that. Maybe he'll have a political life. Maybe he'll do a podcast. Maybe some other network will want him. I don't know, but I do think that
he'll go just pile his massive mound of money in his yard and go play on it.
You could do that.
Honestly, I think that he could probably make more money if he started his own podcast, just gathered some sponsors and things like that. Yeah. I mean, he'd make equally as much money as he does now. Running his own show.
He can do whatever he wants. Yeah.
Well, that's what. Does it matter if you do these shows anymore? Does it matter if you have 11:30 and CBS and it was always thought to be the bigger money, and maybe it is. I don't know. What does Joe Rogan make? He's the #1 podcast guy. What does he make?
A lot of money.
Well, we all hear that, but what's a lot of money? What's he making? Is he making more than Colbert?
I have no idea.
Oh, I don't know. I don't really follow that kind of stuff. But
no, but I always wonder. They say that now. They say, well, they're making a lot of money, and Colbert could make a lot of money. But is it $20 million money? We know what they're making at the network.
Probably. I mean, Rogan. those huge guys like Joe Rogan. Also, to do a podcast, there's not a ton of overhead.
Yeah.
They don't have a studio.
Well, but that's what they're saying.
So he gets all the sponsor money and it. So.
But why hasn't the network figured that out? We don't need live studio audiences anymore. We don't need a crew of 400 people. We don't need that. we can put anything on now. I mean, I don't even think they use satellites anymore for the most part. Everybody Skypes in or they team in to programs. I mean, that's completely changed on cable news.
They go to the library.
They go to the library. Of course they do.
Are they making money off my podcast?
Not that I'm aware. Not that I...
Well, you know, we did all the U.S. treasures. About 5 of us did a podcast.
Oh, maybe they are.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, you never know. See, and I'm not sure how those... I mean, what do you base it on? I mean, really, I don't know. I don't understand how... That whole thing is kind of strange.
Well, ratings were always weird when there was just 3 channels. It was a little easier to track. You know, when I was working in television before, there was some cable, but it wasn't, certainly no streaming. You know, we would routinely get, you know, I'd be on a show, say like the Drew Carey Show, and we would get 12% of the audience on Wednesday night in our time slot. And not be the first show. You know, we would still be 6 or 7 points behind Friends or whoever. I don't remember who we went up against back then. Now the top broadcast show is maybe getting 2% of the audience because it's just so fractured now, and there's so many options to watch. So, but to your question of do we need all the production in order to compete in that space now? You have to have even more production values. I think you really need to show. So it's not cheap.
Well, years ago, it's interesting to me because long before the internet, it wasn't a question of internet, but Larry King, I heard him in an interview say once when his show was super popular on CNN, but even super popular on CNN, he may have got 5% of the audience, if that, on a big night. He used to say that the president of CBS said we could put Larry King on 5 nights a week at 9 o'clock and we would absolutely make a profit because we're only paying one person. It's no set. It's a very small crew.
Right.
But the local affiliates wouldn't put up with that because not having a show that gets 5% as opposed to Dallas, which was getting 30%, doesn't prop up your local news. It doesn't give the news a big lead in, and the affiliates would complain, so that's why they wouldn't do it. Well, now, maybe the news isn't even getting that much. I don't know who's watching the local news anymore.
I don't know either.
I watch the news every night.
Yeah.
Well, and also...
I really like to watch the news.
Well, it's also... Podcasts are interesting to me as well, because if you have somebody on, and I thought about it this week, if you have somebody on, it may not be a watched podcast at the time, but if that person dies, people will search that name, and then all of a sudden... Everybody's watching that. Everybody's paying attention to that because now they're gone and there aren't going to be any more interviews. So it's fascinating. And a lot of time it has to do with the subject matter. If you drop a Trump in the search bar or you drop an Epstein in the search bar, are people watching because of the guest or are they watching because of the subject matter? You don't ever really know. It's hard to tell.
This is the second time this evening that you've mentioned that you're waiting for your guest to die. So that you can.
I'm not waiting. No, I guess
I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable.
It's a good. I like. It's more of a tribute. It's more of a tribute when they die that people can go back and pay attention to them. That's right. Well, when they go, they go. There's no lawsuit then.
There's been a lot of people passing away that we know.
I know. Well, that the march of time. I guess that's the way it goes. But that's fascinating to me. I had not heard the name Malcolm Jamal Warner in I don't know how long, and now you can't miss his name. It's everywhere.
That's I stayed in I was at that beach in Costa Rica. I knew because my son actually texted me and said, "Isn't that beach we were at where they tell you
really?
You know the undertows are crazy, the rip currents and and I guess he went out for an early morning swim like you do on vacation, and there was no one there to save him. It's really horrible.
Daughter with him.
Yeah, and from all accounts, he's he's a good guy, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of an interesting subject to lead us into our next subject, which is got a Marion connection here. It's very interesting, and it's ongoing right now. There was a new documentary released on Netflix last week called Whatever Happened to Amy Bradley, I believe is the title. Now, essentially what this is, in 1998, a girl, I believe she was late teens, early 20s, went on a cruise with her family. She disappeared all these years later. Nobody knows what happened to her. And it's been profiled on Dr. Phil over the last 27 years, I guess it's been. It's been profiled back in those days on 2020 and Dateline and those type of shows. Well, in any event, Netflix does this documentary. Becomes a very popular documentary. Well, a person in that documentary is the cruise ship director the night that Amy Bradley disappeared. The cruise ship director is Kirk Detweiler, who's the executive director of the Palace here in Marion.
Oh, interesting.
My goodness.
And, well, oh my goodness is right, because he comes off so badly in this documentary that they are slamming him on social media so horribly. They think he knew something about the murder. They think he had a hand in it. They think he was callous in the documentary. And the man is under fire. And,
Really?
Oh, yes. And I watched the documentary, and he doesn't come off good. And
Where was it on?
it's on Netflix.
Is it?
Do you have Netflix?
Yes.
You have to watch this. It's
Well, the guy just danced at the women's club home, his Hawaiian dance with the gal from...
yeah, he was. You're right.
And
Yeah.
he did a beautiful job. He didn't have on much. He had on little leaves hanging around.
Like the little,
and a sparkly bra. Or no, she had the sparkling. I think
Oh, that's good.
he had
I
one
thought we
too.
had a real story.
Well,
this is
he
getting
had
better.
one too. He had one too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it was fabulous, that
Oh, that's
dance he
great.
did.
Yeah.
I tell you, I wish everybody could have seen that.
I bet the people on Netflix would like to see that
That's
now
fascinating.
because
I may watch it. I don't really watch a lot of the
I-
true crime stuff
Me
because there's so
either.
much of it.
yes,
But
inundated.
I'll have to.
Yeah.
But
Check that out.
I watched it because I didn't understand. I mean, everybody kept coming to me late last week. I think it was dropped last Thursday, and they were saying, "Oh, Kirk's coming off bad. Oh my good." And I thought
where was it?
it's on Netflix, and he's
Oh,
part of this documentary.
What's it called?
I think it's whatever. Matt, you want to Google that while we're talking about it? And
But it
search,
was something that
search
happened
his
30
name.
years ago, right?
98.
Yeah,
98.
so,
But the
you know.
documentary just came out. So again,
Sure.
when somebody dies, I think it's whatever happened to Amy Bradley. But if you
Amy
search Kirk
Bradley.
Detweiler, just look at some of the things that come up
Well,
there.
why does he come off badly?
Oh, he's only in the documentary for about 6 minutes, but and I'm paraphrasing, I don't have the quotes here in front of me, but he says things, because most of the documentary is the mother and the father and the brother who are all still alive, who were on the trip, and they're still trying to find her. And at one point he says something like, I don't believe any of the conspiracy theories, and this is just a family who can't accept what happened.
Oh, he said that?
Yes, and he also says something. The guy who everybody thinks did it, named Yellow, and was a bass player. He was a good guy, and I never had a problem with him.
Oh,
and
dear.
But so much of that is editing, right?
Exactly.
I mean, and you have like the 60 Minutes thing. People would go on 60 Minutes thinking that they were the good guy in the story, and then it would edit it, and they'd say, "Oh wait, I'm the bad guy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy Bradley is missing, is what the documentary is called.
How
Okay.
old was she?
She was very young at the time, late teens, early 20s. But we'll just do a random Google here on the Kirk Detweiler. Yeah, Kirk Detweiler, and just read the first comments that come up here
Like-
in regard to this. And this is a guy who's in Marion, executive director of the Palace.
It's happened 30 years ago, but yeah, it's it's unfortunate.
He's a
but
nice guy. I
and-
hate to hear that.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you see some of the random comments about him?
Oh, well, here's one from Reddit that I found.
Here you go.
Kirk Detweiler, the cruise director, is an absolute tool. Dude paints the perfect picture how it's profit over people the entire time he's interviewed. He's acting more sus than Yellow by the end of the documentary, in my opinion. I would say he's either involved or knows more than he's telling. Toolbag needs needs a life other than being a dance monkey on a cruise ship.
And then he does it.
Dance monkey, that's terrible.
Oh, they're tearing him apart
Yeah.
on social
But
media.
see, these
Tearing him
are-
apart. And I wonder if he'll keep his job at the Palace, because the
Oh,
Palace is
yeah.
not gonna. This is a
They
big.
don't like that.
They don't like that. No.
Well,
Well, that's too bad. I hate to hear that.
yeah, I would watch. So he's a cruise director at a place when something bad happens, and he gives his honest opinion of, hey, that guy. I mean, it doesn't matter. I could say, oh, I know Mary Ellen, she's very sweet. And then we find out, oh, no, she killed and buried her family in her yard.
Now, see, you brought the death up that time. Not me. It wasn't me. I didn't bring it up.
But you know what I mean? We can't be responsible for everyone we meet and what else they're doing, you know. So
No, but if you know a documentary is about a girl who's dead, her family's still trying to find her 27 years later.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
awful. Wouldn't it be awful?
I don't think I would have said, not that I'm incredibly savvy here, but I don't think, huh?
Twitter is killing this.
Go
man.
ahead. Well, go ahead. Get some
Yeah.
tweets. Let's hear. Yeah, is it still a tweet? I don't know.
I
Just read some of the random ones. Go ahead.
This
We'll tear him down even further before the show's over.
I don't even know the man, but I'm going to defend him because it was 30 years ago. And
I'm not getting near these Amy Bradley
he was
people.
someone who was hired to be a dancer on a cruise ship.
Is that him?
And, I think it's not like it's some authority that's supposed to,
I do think they set him up in a way, though, because
of course
at one
they set him
point
up. It's a Netflix documentary. That's
Yeah,
what
somebody
they do.
has to be the bad guy.
he's dancing at some point, and they show that in the documentary about the dead girl, and I think, why are they showing him dancing?
But that's not his fault. He's a dancer. It's them who's showing it because it's provocative.
But what's some of the random tweets about Kirk?
The cruise director was so insensitive. Trust her parents, face their reality that Amy is gone. Every day they wake up, know they aren't trying to blame anyone. They just want closure while they're still alive. What a jerk. Kirk Detweiler should never give another interview. Kirk Detweiler.
He probably agrees with that.
I bet he feels that way now.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Yeah.
Probably won't.
Yeah.
Cruise director of At Royal Caribbean is one of the most despicable POS humans I've ever had to watch. Smugglers saying they wouldn't stop entertaining just because some girl is missing.
He does say that too. The show must go on. The cruise must go on, even when somebody's.
They even threw him under the bus. He's now the executive director of the Marion Palace Theater.
There's where you send your letters. There's where you send your. I don't know if he'll survive it, to be honest with you. We're going to talk more about this because it's
when
local.
When did that happen?
98.
I will say I have been.
When did this interview?
Documentary?
Yeah.
Well, it aired last week for the first time.
Yeah. Well, the program was a week ago. This coming Friday. It was last Friday.
Oh, when he danced at the Palace?
Yeah.
Oh, just
No,
last Friday.
Not at the Palace. It was
At the Women's Club.
Home.
So that was
Yeah,
recently.
Brenda
Released
and
on the
I
16th.
went. I took Brenda, and
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to Google Kirk Detweiler, and we'll come back and talk some more about this and what social media can do to you, even when you're, I don't know, maybe not as terrible as person as people are making you out to be. We'll be back right after this.
What's the biggest misconception? 40 years on television in Columbus, Ohio. Biggest misconception people have about you.
About me?
Yeah, they've watched you for this many years.
I will tell you, when I meet someone or I'm go out, let's say, in a social group with new people, people always say to me, I can't believe how funny you are. Because I have a good sense of humor. But I think because of what I do, people don't think that. So I think the biggest misconception is I'm not always serious. I do all these serious stories, but I'm not. I think at least I think I have a pretty good sense of humor.
Everybody knows your name because you've been around. I mean, you predate really cable in the big way. That's not a horrible thing.
Scott.
No, that's not a horrible thing at all.
Did you see I came in with horse and buggy?
No. Staying power. Well, finish this sentence. Colleen Marshall is.
Always short of time.
And that's why we thank you for doing this interview, Colleen. It was great. And again, the documentary Surviving Ohio State is #1 on HBO Max right now. You do not want to miss it. It is something very telling, and certainly something everybody will want to see. And Colleen, I do think the world of you, and I thank the world of you for giving me this time. But to talk to some of these survivors and how they do feel about you, that is a really great thing. At the end of a journalistic career, middle, beginning, if people feel that way about you because you were able to do something for them, that means that much. That really is something.
It means quite a bit to me. I can't overstate.
Hey, Scott Spears here with Matt Morgan, 40th President of the United States, Mary Ellen Withrow, and stand-up comic and comedy writer Mike Larsen. And we're talking about the new documentary on Netflix, making waves everywhere, literally. No pun intended. what is it? Amy Bradley is missing?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the title if you want to watch it. And our very own Kirk Detweiler from Here in Marion, the executive director of the Palace, is in it, and he's getting ripped to shreds on social media. And the question is it going to affect his life? I'm telling you, if it doesn't die down soon, and I'm not sure that this one will. I thought in the beginning, this can't go on a week. But here we are, tomorrow is a week. And they're still burying this guy and putting out where he works.
But
and I'm sure the Palace is getting emails.
How much of that is because it's Marion, and how often does Marion get to have someone to talk about? You know, it's kind of small town gossip kind of happening.
But a lot lately. I mean, we were in that Surviving Ohio State. We had one of the wrestlers in that thing. And so lately, we're just all over the place with this whole thing.
I mean, I have not seen this, but it sounds like this person is being vilified for telling the truth and then being the victim of some creative editing. And so I am likely to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I think it'd be nice to see the full uncut interview with the guy.
But Mary Ellen, if you know it's a documentary about a girl who's missing that her parents are looking for and they still can't find her, if you just know that, and you were on the cruise ship that night, would you say they need to get over it?
No, not at all.
Right.
I mean,
I'd say I feel for the people, you know.
Yes, and I think everybody else, I mean, he's not the only person in the documentary, but he's coming off worse than the guy who they think might have killed her. I mean, it was just, I can't believe how maybe somewhat unaware he was of what he was saying. And he even talks about his hair in the thing. I mean, he said he had a bouffant hairdo in those days. I mean, I thought, well, what? Why are you talking about that? I mean, this has nothing to do.
He was a dancer on a cruise ship, you know. But we should remember that he was a dancer on a cruise ship, was not someone who was used to being grilled about some crime that happened 30 years ago, or not a crime. Also, I would imagine, I've never worked the boats, the cruise ships, but I would imagine that people committing suicide or falling overboard or whatever is not that uncommon a thing. I would imagine in that industry that happens quite often.
I often wondered, how come they fall overboard? Believe me, I wouldn't ever be in a position to fall overboard.
I had a friend who took a cruise. They were going to one of the Mexican islands or something like that, and they found a dude floating in the water.
Yeah.
They picked him up with the whole life preserver, that whole thing.
I think it happens fairly common. Yeah,
you just
people
found
drink a lot of those
floating
things
in the
too.
water.
Yeah.
That was just crazy to me.
Well, in the documentary, they do talk about how where they were, she would have eventually washed up against the rocks, and that didn't happen. And they can't find any video of her exiting the ship, and there's a lot that goes into this documentary, but I just, it's amazing to me that he comes off this bad, and I really didn't realize how bad. I got a message from a friend of mine who I didn't realize had any connection at all to this thing, and they're researching him at 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, trying to find dirt on him. Yeah. I mean, that's social media.
But and that's this small, and social media is small town gossip, most of it, especially the comment section. It's like people get a life. I had just 2 weeks ago, had probably 10 comments on a thing I put on Threads that were telling me to die. You know, why don't you just die? And why don't, things, it's first off, it just shows the level of intellect for these people that's the thing you want to put out there. But, it's just,
What was it on?
I think I posted that, about the response in Texas to the floods.
Yeah.
And how similar it is to the response in Texas in Uvalde to the shooting. And how years of Republican policies caused these things.
Yeah.
We have inept police departments. We have gutted emergency services. They wouldn't even spend the money to put sirens to warn them of the floods.
Yeah.
And now they're clutching their pearls and saying, oh, we pray for them. Well, you should have done something all these years when people were telling you we had to do things. We got to spend some money on local government.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was all. My comment was, we can't. I get upset after tragedies when people say, oh, we shouldn't be talking about politics. And it's no, politics caused this. We don't invest in infrastructure, and bad things happen, and we have to talk about them when they're happening.
Right.
Right? Like gun shooting deaths or whatever. You've got to talk about them when it's in the news. So, yeah, the point is, the comments I got were people who are just lonely, ignorant people sitting at their computers. What is that a surprise? Are people who comment on the internet not lonely, ignorant people?
You don't know that they're lonely, ignorant people.
I see
have to
their
defend the
comment.
lonely,
When
ignorant
someone
people.
who doesn't know me in the middle of the night posts "You should die,"
Yeah,
that's
that's kinda bad.
They must be lonely. I can't imagine who would want to spend time with them.
Yeah.
Well, but now here's the flip side of this, though. These people who are posting about Detweiler, now, you can't write them off, though. I mean, they watched the documentary. They didn't know him personally. It's not like he's saying controversial stuff. I mean, he just came off that poorly. Why would the documentary want to make him look that bad? What's the point of that?
Gotta have somebody.
You're talking about it on the radio.
I
That's
didn't
the
bring
point.
it up. I didn't bring it up.
Literally brought it. It would
No,
not be
I
news
think-
if it were just. If there was nothing salacious, right? It's show business.
But
It's-
why him? Because, I mean, it's not like they set him out there and said, go after the cruise director. There's
I would
15
assume-
people in this documentary.
It would seem that he had the clips that were the easiest
Right.
easiest to edit.
Well, listen, I will say this. I think he's doing a tremendous disservice by not doing an interview now.
Oh, I would say something now. At this
I would say,
point.
because you could, if this is all about insincerity, if you did an interview now, you could say, listen, I was edited. I feel nothing but the most heartfelt condolences toward this family. And I think the man should do an interview now.
If he is thinking of being interviewed, and anyone listening knows him, tell him I will gladly help him prepare for that interview. Because clearly he was thrown to the wolves. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But it sounds like it was someone who was not equipped to deal with the rabid dogs of documentary filmmaking, and was set up to be a punching bag. And
But in his position, I can't believe that he hasn't had enough experience.
Right, because, in your position, I mean, I'm not saying those people should have told you to die, but I imagine when you wrote that, that's going to get under some Republican skin. And
Sure.
Right, I don't think this guy doing this, I bet he loved doing this documentary. It's a national Netflix documentary, and when he got the idea that, hey, I'm going to do this documentary, he probably thought it was great.
I'm sure, and I'm sure the person who interviewed them was very skilled at getting people, like we were talking before, when you talk to a reporter in politics and you handle your business, and then there's the time now where you just kind of shooting the breeze and you say something stupid.
Look out.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're still there. That's the interview for them. The other part was just getting you comfortable. This is the good stuff.
Yes.
Kirk, I think you should come on and do an interview. We'll do it live. You can say whatever you want. Do it. He's got to know now. I mean, he certainly knows.
It would seem to me that that'd be in his best interest. I mean, the man has sufficiently. I mean, I don't know what was all in the full unedited clip or what the questions were, but it would seem to me that that he might need to explain.
Just if he came off compassionate now, just that, and apologized for how he was edited, he doesn't even have to take the onus himself. I mean, he could clear up a lot of this. I think this idea now that I'm not going to speak, and I understand why you don't, because the firestorm is on you, but that's when you should speak. That's when you should get out there ahead of it and say, listen, I realize this didn't come out the way I thought it was good. The longer, it isn't going to go away. Every day, new people are going to see this documentary, and they're going to Google it, and they're going to find these nasty comments. They're going to think, ooh, this guy was a jerk.
It'll go away. These things, it just came out, right? So it'll have
16.
a shelf life for about a month, maybe. And
Yeah, but
then
what if he's
maybe
fired in that month?
Here
That's-
in Marion,
that's too
people
long.
might remember
Yeah, that's right.
it. But the rest of the world, there's so many other things going on in the world.
But will it affect his current position is what I think he needs to be ahead of.
I don't know that it'll.
Don't wait that out.
I don't know how much it'll stick with him for I don't know.
Oh, it's with him for life now. Anytime somebody Googles his
don't-
name, that'll be the first thing that comes up.
I don't know. I think I'd be more concerned if I were him about the potential of losing my position.
That's right.
Currently,
and that's why he
Of
should
course.
have gotten out of this
Yeah,
already.
I
mean, I know some. I'm not going to say it, but there's something happened. We'll save it for the book. There's something that happened to him this past week that I saw happen firsthand, and just to speak of the gravity of this thing.
Did he get like punched or something?
No. But I'm just saying it is not a tiny little story for him. I mean, people know who he is now. People are aware, and they're not particularly thrilled with him. And
it sounds to me like it's a guy who told the truth, and people are upset because he told the truth about what was going on 30 years ago. It's something that tragic that happened. I just don't think we should be vilifying the guy. He may have come off wrong, but that's editing. I don't know. Say, I haven't seen it, so I don't want to weigh in one way or another. I hate to see someone who was probably being earnest and honest because that's what they wanted him to be, and then they edit it in a way,
But don't you answer the outrage? I mean, Mary Ellen, whether or not you meant to come off bad, if you came off bad saying something, wouldn't you say something about it? I mean, maybe not apologize, but at least say, listen.
Yeah, but I've had to do that, but they take it and go over it again, and they use it however.
But also, like in a political situation, if I were advising a candidate who something bad came out, the thing you don't want to do is take a one-day story and turn it into a two-day story or a three-day story by responding to it.
Yeah.
Especially if you are someone in this context who maybe isn't the greatest on their feet as a speaker. Why would you throw them to the wolves? So I don't blame him. I think this would be a good time to go visit family and wait till the Netflix stops running that thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the big question here is, I mean, we don't want to see anybody lose their job, but how much pressure is a non-profit's board of directors going to be under? I don't think they probably like this very much. And to find the fact that they're unaware, I can't imagine they're unaware. And when you're solely based on donations, I mean, if a big donor called in and said, I think this guy killed this girl, even as preposterous as that may sound.
Yeah, that's...
I know most of the board of directors. I'll have to find out.
Yeah. I just don't know. I think when people are accusing you of murder or knowing about murder, I think that's when you need to go out and say, whoa, I didn't mean to come off that way. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So he should apologize. That's what I think. Think? Should he speak or should he not speak? No.
I have not seen the show, but no. If he was being honest at the time, and this is all just a bunch of ignorant people commenting on the internet, you owe nothing to them. I don't respond to people who comment on my social media because I don't want to give them air. For one thing, I have a bigger audience than they do. I'm not giving them my audience by responding to them. But you take that stuff and that's people's opinion. But like I say, I haven't seen it, so I really feel like I'm answering blind.
I will agree with that, though. I think that if the man believes that he went in there and he said the whole truth and nothing but the truth, I think coming on would be a bad look for him, because he's going to come on and say the exact same thing he said in the documentary, and it's not going to do him a world of anything.
For somebody who does interviews and does news interviews, I think he should speak. And I think it would only help him, because I think, how could he come off any worse at this point?
Well, I mean, you could get on and say the same exact thing you said in the documentary.
Well,
double down.
You were in the business of having provocative people come talk to you on the radio, so of course you would like him to come here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the seat is open.
Yes,
come on.
Right. No,
that's not biased. No, the seat is open. Come on, and you can say what you want. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you want to double down on this, go ahead, double down on it. But I think you could be a little bit remorseful about the thing, where people don't think you're that bad. I just don't know. To me, I think he should speak, and God forbid he loses his job. I think it was preventable if he didn't sit on it and not say anything. If somebody says you killed that person,
I think there's a fair
I would
chance.
say, no, I didn't.
I think it's a fair chance it's a lose-lose either way. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, if the board of directors is already, I mean, the only thing he could do, I mean, he could certainly draw a lot more attention to it.
If people are making accusations like that, then the only person he should be talking to is a lawyer.
That's right.
And I would get a good lawyer. I'm sure there's some in Marion and they would probably tell him, keep your mouth shut, lay low for a while, and let's see if this thing blows over.
Mary Ellen, what would you do? Would you speak if you were taken in such...
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
Most of my things I had to deal with was the Cleveland Plain Dealer. And to correct anything that was incorrect. And
were you ever badly misquoted or taken out of context or something?
It a lot of times during the campaigns they did, and I would immediately whenever I read it and saw what they wrote, I would call them and talk to them about what I actually said,
right,
and correct it. Yeah,
I think that's right. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah,
because I don't think he meant to come off bad, but clearly, for some reason, he's coming off bad with a lot. I mean, this is not a small audience saying that if it's 10 people, okay, that's one thing. But this is thousands of people at this point. And
on the
growing.
internet. They don't. Come on. The people who comment on the internet, those aren't people we need to listen to.
When did this happen? You said last Thursday?
Last Thursday it came out.
And it was Friday when we had the program. And he did not smile at all through that whole...
Well, here we go.
He didn't. He didn't smile at all. I wondered why.
Well, see, and this right here now is...
Guy.
Well, now think about it, though. Because when he got asked, he thought, my ship has come in. This is celebrity. This is Netflix. This is a big documentary.
Yeah.
And then to turn on your computer that night and have hate email coming out of your ears...
To be especially if you're misquoted or if the editing is making you sound different, that would be very disappointing.
I would be interested to know what his take on the documentary was itself. Because
in an interview.
I mean, just because, if he's seen the interview and he feels like he's been wrongly portrayed, then I think he should probably say so.
Yes, I think he should speak, but I think he should only speak live. Because I don't think he should be taped anymore.
That's right. Say as little as possible.
That's right. Say it live.
Just correct it and off.
Move on. Yeah, and don't give...
right.
See, this is why I never understand why people go to newspapers a lot. Because newspapers are just going to pick and choose what they want to put in there. I mean, that truly is an edit job, no matter what they're doing. I mean, you can give them a 3-hour interview and they'll take 2 lines that they find to be the most salacious. Really, if you're doing a live interview, then you really do have leverage to go back if they edit that, and it was supposed to be live, and they edit it in a salacious way and say, well, that's not the whole thing. Have them send out the whole thing.
Well, only if you own the tape or if you have your own tape, but most people don't, right? It's still the media is going to... Yeah, no, that's why, people in the public eye spend money having people advise them on what to say. And, when I worked especially for the congresswoman, someone could say, can we have her for 10 minutes? It's like, you can have her for 3 minutes. What are your questions? You can ask 2 questions. We can prep her on... And she's brilliant on live, but the longer you go, the more likely you're going to get angry.
How is she?
Jackie Spears doing wonderful. She was She decided to run again for her old seat on the Board of Supervisors in San Mateo County in California. So she has gone back after promising her poor husband over and over and over again that she was done with politics. They asked her and she jumped back in. And her husband's a wonderful guy, but I know he was kind of looking forward to doing some traveling, retiring.
How old is she?
Jackie is 75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody ever really retires, do they? I think it's hard.
I mean, I started a new job at 64 last year, so yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Mary Ellen, when you left your position as Treasurer of the United States because George W. Bush was becoming the president, I don't know if he won. They can fight that out in Florida, I guess. But he was coming in as the next president, and you were leaving your position. Did anything ever tempt you to get back into politics at that point, or since?
Well, I was so depressed. I went into a deep depression.
After the Gore Bush thing?
Yeah. I went to this grief seminar at the church.
Yeah.
I said all the women there was there because their husbands died. I was there because I lost the election. I went through a terrible time.
Yeah, sure.
And I finally got out of it and was a happy person again.
What got you out of it?
Well, just working there in my house, I started trying to plant flower beds in my yard, and it takes a lot of work to make flower beds.
Yeah.
And I was taking out bushes and planting flowers, and so that's what I did.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you ever think, I'd like to get back involved in politics in some way?
Well, and I was so disgusted with George Bush. That's all I could think about.
People must have come to have approached you to run for Senate or Congress or something.
Well, they did while I was U.S. Treasurer. They wanted me to run for governor. They called me every day. And I said, why would I want to do that when I'm in a good job, you know?
Right.
And no, then and I still had made promises of speeches, so I had to go give speeches yet. And it was a sad time.
I bet. But do you miss it? Do you ever wake up today and say, I wish I was in somewhere doing
I don't
something?
have the energy to do it. I went as hard as I could go when I was in office, and I couldn't begin to do anything now. I couldn't even. I don't want to be on anything. Yeah, I'm on this committee yet, but we never meet.
So that's easy to
the
be on.
Historical Committee
I
and
think
Treasury.
just sitting through some of those boring meetings, I mean, there's a certain point, that's a kind of a young person's game to just
It is, yeah.
muscle through those meeting after
Yeah.
meeting where you don't want to be there, you know. Or,
Now, I do remember, though, when Hillary was running for president, not in 16, although you did do some campaigning for her then, but in what would it have been, 8? When she ran against Obama in the primary,
right.
You were doing some campaigning for her then, I think.
Yeah.
Now, if she had won and asked you to do something, would you have done it?
I probably would have.
Yeah.
Because I was still in good health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, I think when you're asked, I think it's a tough thing, I would think, to turn down.
Well, and that job that I had was a wonderful job. But I just about killed myself doing it because I was going somewhere all the time, but I loved it.
I don't think I ever asked you, where did you live when you were in D.C.?
Bethesda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we bought a house. I made a lot of money on the house.
Bethesda's a nice town.
Yeah, and we were there 17 years.
Wow.
And when I bought the house, you don't know whether you're doing the right thing or not.
Right.
Because he was getting ready to run for his second term. I had a few months after he was in office when I went in, and you don't know if he's going to win or not. And the woman across the street yelled over at me. He said, "You can count on winning again, or being here again, because he's going to win."
He took down Bob Dole pretty easily in that election back in '96.
Bob Dole didn't do much.
No, Bob Dole didn't. Fell off that stage, and then it was all downhill for Bob Dole after that.
Yeah.
Mike, you talked about drinking every day. What got you to stop?
Well, for me, ultimately, it just came to the thing in my head saying, enough is enough. I had a kid that it was during the pandemic, for one thing. So there was no reason to leave the house, so I would just sit and drink, and obviously my my wife would, you quit or I'm out of here, and that wasn't enough to do it because that just gets your defiance up. Who are you to tell me? Glug, 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 It was, for me, ultimately, it had to get to whatever, looking in the mirror or whatever, saying, all right, come on, knock it off. Come on, you don't really want to be this way. My dad was an alcoholic. My whole family are big drinkers. That was a big part of our social world, so it was very normal for me. But looking around, you're like, come on, there's plenty of role models you can see that who should have quit years ago, and I could still do it. And so I just did it. I ended up not doing like AA or anything, even though AA has been wonderful for my friends and for my dad. But I just needed to get to a point where I said,
that's great.
And I tell people that I did not deprive myself. I drank everything I wanted to drink. I just used up my supply, and I drank a couple other people's supplies worth too. And I'm very happy now. Although there are times the social aspects of it I certainly miss when people are going out for a drink or whatever, and I would love to have one.
You don't go out for a drink anymore.
I'll go out with people, but it's not the same, and I go out. Certainly now I have a job where people go out for happy hour, and I'll usually go.
Yeah.
But there's times there, not that I say, "Ooh, I'm gonna drink," but it's like, there's part of it. The camaraderie of sharing a bottle of wine with people or whatever, but
Yeah.
Well, here's something I wanted to make sure to get in before we run out of time, just because it's such an odd story. President Trump threatened to revoke Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. Says she's a threat to humanity. Boy, he just has had it for Rosie since 2000. That goes back to Barbara Walters in The View. That has gone on for 20 years now. Mary Ellen, why? Still, she's in Scotland.
He doesn't give up. No.
What is it about Rosie O'Donnell that she doesn't say much about him anymore?
She irritates him.
Why?
Strong woman. He can't handle it.
Well, she talks back to him, says things about him, and he can't take that.
No, he's not very good with criticism.
He cannot handle strong women.
That's right. Well, he can't handle strong men either.
No, he can't. By the way, Rosie O'Donnell gave me my very first television appearance.
Really?
She hosted a show called, I think it was called Stand Up Spotlight. I think it was on VH1. And I think that was my very first time on television.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
nice.
She was. I worked with her a little bit on the road. I love Rosie.
What is she like?
Oh, she's wonderful.
Is she?
I mean, that was 30 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So and was a comic on the rise, but she was starting to get. Did she have a sitcom? I think she was on something.
She was on The View.
Well, that was later in life, but then as a younger woman, I don't remember what her first kind of...
Oh, Give Me a Break.
Oh, no, you know what it was? It was Star Search. She was on Star Search, and I don't know if she won Star Search, but I think that was her first thing, and she was very, very nice at a time when, comedy for women was hard, but comedy for a gay woman. I mean, Rosie was in the same category as Ellen, where they had to portray themselves as just not interested in sex. They kind of had to pretend that they were just sexless because they couldn't, be out as a lesbian and be like you can. So those were really tough times for, and the fact that they through it all were so funny.
In our final 2 minutes, we should have got to this a little earlier, but for somebody who has been around Rosie O'Donnell, what have you made? What is it? It's not just Donald Trump, but she got in the big dust up. She got in the big dust up with Barbara Walters that got her fired from The View. She got in the dust up with Elizabeth Hasselbeck, who was on The View.
Oh, that's right.
She got in the dust up with Kelly Ripa. There was something there where they got... Why is this woman always getting in dust ups with people?
That's Rosie, right?
She's just abrasive.
She's provocative.
Volatile.
She's good at what she does, right? I mean, that's what... I also work... I mean, I've worked with a lot of strong women. Whoopi Goldberg, like that. They don't...
Well, she got in fights with Whoopi.
Yeah.
They didn't get along at all.
No, that's great. I don't know Rosie now. We're not like we're buddies, but at the time when we were both youngish comics, she was certainly was a very nice person, but she's very outspoken. Good for her.
How is Whoopi to work with?
Wonderful.
Is she?
So were you shocked that the two of them got into it?
Oh, God, no.
No, you knew that was just
Oh,
a disaster
God,
waiting
no.
to happen.
Yeah.
Well, not a disaster. That's good television, right? Those
Yeah.
two strong women going at it.
Yeah.
I think when two strong men go at it on TV, we don't look askance at them. We're like, yeah, they're doing what they do.
But they wouldn't let that last. They got Rosie off. I don't even think that went a year, and they pulled her off when when her and Whoopi didn't see eye to eye. Somebody was threatening to go.
I would think Whoopi's the bigger draw. If of the two for a network, I would think you hang on to Whoopi. But yeah, Rosie seems to be doing wonderfully. Is she living in Ireland now?
She's
I think she's in Ireland.
Ireland,
Yeah.
Scotland, somewhere. She's out of the country. But we've had a great time this week talking about so many things. We got to get out of here fast. But we thank everybody who's been on, and thank you for watching Stewart's 100 Years this year in Marion. Scott Spears heading for the dugout.